I got my very first direct-to-garment printer back in late 2020. It was a Roland BT-12. It was a compact printer and curing oven all-in-one, and I didn't even know what DTG was at the time. We have come so far that that machine is not even available anymore, and now my now 15-year-old is towering over me. But here's the thing, while the printer I learned DTG on is in my storage area, almost everything I learned on it still applies to every DTG machine I've ever used since. And there have been several, including the Epson F2100 and the Epson F1070. So because while I know the machines change, the process of direct-to-garment printing doesn't. And my son's love for custom shirts also has not changed. So if you are thinking about jumping into DTG, maybe you've seen the new all-in-one machines everybody's talking about right now. Looking at you, Omni. Before you spend a dime, I want to walk you through what direct-to-garment printing actually is. The real step-by-step process that nobody really shows you up front, and the honest stuff that you need to know before you jump in. So grab a cup of coffee and buckle up because we are getting into it. Okay, so real quick, what even is direct-to-garment printing? DTG prints directly to your shirt. The ink goes right onto the fabric, so there's no transfer, film, cutting, or weeding. It's basically a printer, but for garments instead of paper, like an inkjet would be. And it gives you the hand or the feel of sublimation, but with the flexibility and ability to print on cotton and both lights and darks. I got your attention with that one, didn't I? Okay, so let's quickly get into why the benefits of DTG are there over other digital printing methods like DTF and sublimation. So if you're used to using or even printing DTF transfers and you're wondering why would I even bother with DTG, very fair question. There are two huge advantages of DTG over DTF. One, the hand and the workflow, which I'm going to put an asterisk by that one and we will loop back around to it shortly. But just know that there is no powdering, there is no transfer sitting on top of the shirt that may feel stiff or risk peeling, and you can literally see and feel the shirt weave under that print. So compared to sublimation, as I've mentioned, the advantage of DTG printing is that the printer can print white, which means that you can print on both dark and light shirts. And perhaps even more importantly, unlike sublimation that requires polyester, DTG can print directly to cotton blends. So when sublimation isn't an option and screen printing isn't practical, or you just don't feel like the feel of DTF, DTG is a good option, which means while you don't hear about it as often as you used to, there is still a place for it. And that's why in the last couple of years, we've seen 3 DTF, DTG hybrid machines, including this one behind me and the one that's coming up, come to market. All right, that's why. So the Epson F1070, the Epson 2270, and now most recently the X201 Omni DTN fabric model have all been released in the last couple of years, or most recently now. Okay, now, if this is sounding interesting to you, perfect. But as we all know, there's no one printing type or printer that literally is perfect. They all have pros and cons to them. So if you're new to this with DTG specifically, it's easy to watch videos and think, oh, you just throw the shirt on there and it comes out printed and voila, you're done. That is close if you're using a white shirt. So that's where that asterisk comes in that I was talking about. As I explained in this video that I'm going to show you here in a second, with the F2100, DTG printing on white shirts is actually pretty quick and easy because the white shirt doesn't require white ink. So you pretty much just put the shirt on the platen, press, print, and then it prints, and then you hit the ink area with heat to cure it, and you are done.
You obviously are going to remove the frame, but then if you cross your arms when you pull the shirt off of the platen, you will twist the shirt in a way that the image is facing you, and it makes it really easy to then place it directly on the heat press.
But with any shirt color other than white, you need to take a couple of additional steps, and that's due to the fact that you need white ink. So here's the part that I really want you to see before you buy a printer that can do DTG, because this is what turns a lot of people away once they're into it. All right, so before we get into the full DTG process, it's important to understand why you even have to do all these additional steps, why white ink is so important. So on a dark or colored shirt, white gives you a white base for the other colors to sit on top of. So if you printed red directly on a black shirt, you'd barely be able to see it. But if you put down a white base layer first and then print red on top of that, the red is sitting on top of the white, not on the black. But the red hides the white, so it looks like it's printed directly on the back. Now here's the thing. In order to prevent that white ink layer from seeping into the black or dark fibers of a shirt, what do you have to do? Well, you need some type of barrier, and that is Pretreat. So now that you know the why, let me show you the full DTG process for colored and dark surfaces. I'm going to show you this on a few different machines on purpose so that you can see that the process is the same everywhere and will continue to be. It doesn't matter if it's my old school Roland and Epson or the new X-Tool Omni that just launched. The core process for DTG is the same 4 steps. You have to apply a pre-treat solution, cure the pre-treat solution with heat, print a white layer, print a colored layer, and then cure the ink. All right, so let's walk through each one of them so you can see what this entails. All right, first step, pre-treat. So this is the liquid that you apply to the shirt before you print. Like I said, you to make sure that the white layer of ink sits on top of the shirt and doesn't soak in. So pre-treatment is the make or break step in DTG, specifically with dark shirts. Most of DTG problems that people run into, patchy prints, cracking, a dull washed out look, they're all the result of a bad pre-treat. Either not enough pre-treat was added, or it was put on unevenly, or you just flat out missed an area. So I'm going to show you this shirt. I've showed you guys this before. I specifically only pre-treated half of it. You can see the dramatic difference, and I'm sure that you can guess which side was pre-treated. So there are various types of pre-treat machines or spraying applicators that you can purchase, or you can do the paint roll method. Or you can just take the user error out of it completely and purchase pre-treated shirts. Just know that they are obviously going to be limited in style. Okay, so once the pre-treat is on your shirt, you have to cure it. The liquid is wet, so you need to press it or heat it so that it dries, and then that sets it before you actually print. This step requires a heat press. Or in the case of my original Roland BT-12, it had its own like curing oven underneath the printer. Same process though, or same technique though. You're basically hitting it with with heat. Okay, now, before you actually print, there's a piece that a lot of people don't think about until they're standing in front of their machine, and that is the platen. That's this 2-part system. It's the platen down here, and then the frame. The shirt loads on the platen. That is what is going to hold your garment flat and smooth so that the print head has a surface to print on. If your shirt's wrinkled or the seam is in the way, your print could be affected. So knowing how to load the garment on the platen correctly, flat, straight, no wrinkles, is really important. And I know that there's a question that keeps coming up that I keep saying a lot, and it's, does this frame leave a mark? Generally, no. It's not clamped down or super tight. You're just holding the garment in place. Okay, so you just pop it on and pop it off. Like I said, it's not like clamped on there. All right, one more thing worth knowing before you buy. Most DTG machines, this one does not, and the Omni at this point does not, offer various size platens. So the platen is machine specific. Okay, so you buy them to fit your printer. But once you do, it really opens up what you can make. So beyond regular shirts, there are platens for youth and baby size items like onesies. Sleeves, so you just would put the sleeves. It's these 2 like long platens. So that way you're not locked into just adult flat tees, all right? So when you're looking at a machine, it is worth checking what platens are available. You can't just buy like generic ones and add them on there. Okay, once you have your shirt loaded on the platen, now you are ready to print. This is the part everybody pictures, and this is the marketing videos that you're seeing when they think of DTG. Whoa! Right, so the design goes straight onto the shirt. On a dark shirt, the machine lays down, like I said, that white underbase first, then the color on top. Once the printer finishes, you are not done yet. You need to cure the ink. This is a necessary step, regardless of what color your shirt is, and regardless of if you used white ink or not. You must press the shirt with a heat press to fix or set the ink so it is permanent and washable. With white shirts, it's 2 steps, print and press. With other color shirts, it's 4, pre-treat, cure, print, cure. Got it? Okay. Now that you have seen the process, let me give you an honest reality check, because this is not me talking you in or out of DTG printing. It is just making sure that you go in with your eyes wide open as we get more and more options on the market. Number one, you just watched it. 4 steps and a heat press for every shirt. It's not insert your shirt, press print, and be done. When you're doing one shirt, that's fine and it's fun, but it's a lot of hands-on time. And that brings me to a really big one. DTG is hard to scale efficiently. Custom and one-offs or prototypes, no issue at all. Perfect for that. But at scale, every shirt is that same multi-step process. Hands-on process, pre-treat, cure, print, cure, repeat, repeat, repeat. A lot of people get into DTG excited because of the benefits, all those things we already talked about, and then they discover that the bottleneck isn't the printing itself. It's everything that comes to getting to the point of printing. Okay, so just keep those things in mind, especially if you're running a business. All right, number 3, white ink. Any printer, this is not specific to DTG, not specific to any certain DTG printer. Any printer with white ink is going to require more maintenance than a printer that doesn't have white ink. White ink settles, it gets kind of gummy. It needs to constantly be stirred or shaken. It has a lot more issues than CMYK ink, okay? So what I want you to consider is that you are going to have more maintenance with that. But if you keep that up with that maintenance, you will hopefully avoid issues. All right, so number four thing that I want you to consider is the price on the machine is not the price to get printing. So you've got the printer, of course, but like I said, you're also going to need to add the rest of those supplies. So pre-treat, some type of pre-treat applicator. You're also going to need a heat press or a conveyor dryer for curing. So when you're budgeting, make sure that you're budgeting for the full workflow, not just for the actual printing. Okay, last thing, and this is where DTG is in the market right now, and I just obviously have put a timestamp on this because things move quickly. At the time of this recording, here is the landscape. You don't really see brand new dedicated DTG machines launching anymore. You just don't. The workhorses are still the same. Epson, Brother, Uninet, Ricoh. Those machines, they've been around for a long time. They're proven and they're great, but they are not new. And for the most part, they are not for home or prosumer users. Okay, those are large, more commercial use machines. What is new to the market is these hybrids. The newest machines coming out are DTF and DTG. Like I said, the F2100 was intended originally for DTG, and then towards the end of its life cycle, they actually added a mode for DTG or for DTF. So that one went the other way. It was originally a DTG machine. In the software, they added some capability that allowed it to do DTF. And the ones that have come out since, Epson's F1070, Epson's F2270, the X-Tool Omni, they have all been hybrid machines, okay? So DTG is still around, but with other options, it's just not something that we're seeing as like, this is a dedicated machine for it, all right? But because of the benefits that it gives you, the printing directly onto the shirt, that the basically no hand feel, it's still popular with a lot of people and a lot of shops. So the other thing that we're seeing is that a lot of the industry is moving towards machines, obviously, that give you both, or they just have completely moved to DTF for other reasons, which is basically like you can just easily buy DTF transfers. It's so much less hands-on, especially if you have an inline system. So if you're wondering, should I jump into DTG? It's so hard to say this over and over. DTG is perfect if you want to print on cotton, if you need lights and darks, if you love that soft printed on shirt feel, and if you're okay with taking on multiple steps to get it on darks and colors. If that's you, it is genuinely a really great option for you. And I obviously will help you learn that. So if you're mostly after speed and you're looking for simplicity, or you're trying to scale faster, I probably would look hard at something else like DTF and just go in knowing exactly what your workflow is going to be, because there are other options. All right, if you are ready to go deeper, I've got videos that walk through each of these steps in detail. I'll link to my pre-treat video because that one is step-by-step that you really like cannot afford to get wrong. And then also my first DTG print video so that you can watch a full shirt start to finish. I have one for darks and then I have one for white. So if you're looking for more help on this, I do offer one-on-one help, same-day support and coaching. It is all through Silhouette U. Do not be turned off by the name. Just like many of you, I started with one thing, a silhouette, and have grown and expanded. So we offer support for everything that you see on this channel. You can use the code YouTube to get 50% off your first payment, and you're welcome to browse the site, including our full library of videos that we don't even put here on YouTube. And then obviously all of our support options. We do obviously offer US-based support, same-day support, one-on-one chat, personalized, everything. So check out that, check out the reviews, and until then, see you guys on the next one.